Hi everyone, Mason is with us today. Do you want to say hi?
Hi.
Well done. So today I thought I will share with you this little painting I did, and I put it on Instagram I think the other week. I don't remember, maybe this week. Anyway, so it's a very muted kind of color scheme, which is very unusual for me. I have tried something like this before and I quite liked it, but I never went back to it until now, and I really like it because it goes quite well with the art that I already have done for my studio frames. And so I thought I will fill one of the frames today, and the size of it is going to be 9.5 centimeter square, so it's going to be a lot smaller because it obviously has to fit in that size. And so I thought I'll share the process with you. Now I am quite tempted to use one of the new colors from Daniel Smith that I have ordered, and it's called the Rhodonite Genuine, and it's kind of like a muted pink, like a lilac-y pink, very pretty. Actually, I'll show you a little sneak peek of my new palette. Here it is, and it's this color right here. And there's a video coming about this little custom palette that I have made, and I'm super excited to share it with you. So what I'm going to use for paper today is the Winsor & Newton Hot Press 300 GSM. It's a paper block, and although it's hot, it actually has a bit of texture. So I like it for that reason, because it's not super smooth. I don't like super smooth papers, and so is this one. Very similar in texture, but it's a little bit whiter than the Winsor & Newton, and this is the Stillman and Burn Beta series. So I'll put all the links, as always, down below, so that if you're interested you can check them out. Otherwise I'm going to use the Platinum Carbon Ink fountain pen, as you know, and I really love this line work detail. And also I'm going to use the mechanical pencil Mozart Supplies. This is the 03, not for any particular reason other than I just want to have a very fine line, because I'm going to go over with an eraser on top at the end. So I'm going to start with a pencil today, giving myself a structure of these petals, because peonies are not the easiest flowers to paint and to draw. So I will start with a pencil and then thereafter outline with the fountain pen, and then I will also use the watercolors from my portable painter, so that you can paint along if you have these paints or similar ones, because I know quite a few of you actually went ahead and put this palette together so that you can follow these Friday watercolor sessions with me. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the drawing first, and then we will go on to the watercoloring, and the last step will be the ink fountain pen. So I'm doing it slightly reversed this time for this particular painting. I will need to make a smaller painting to be in that size. So I'm going to start by creating the center right here, and the flower is going to be a lot smaller than this one, so I'm just going to outline the center like so, and then I'm going to start with the petals. So I think I will leave it at that in terms of the petals, and then I'm just going to create some of these leaves as well. So I can see that I'm going too far in here, so I'm going to erase this bit. before I'm going to start with anything else or with watercolor, I'm just going to actually I need to create those curls. So here's what I'm talking about. So this would be like a leaf curling inwards like so, or the petal rather, and some of them I quite like on the side, and then this one would be like that as well, and so will be this one, and I'm kind of curling them into one direction, if that makes sense, and trying to make it look organic, not too repetitive. But basically that's the idea here. So I'm going to leave it at that, and now I'm going to go ahead and try to erase on top of these pencil lines like so. And actually I keep forgetting, but instead of swiping it with my finger, it's better to use like a fan brush just to make sure you don't smudge the pencil. That's what I like doing the best. I hate those pencil smudges. So if you do have some of those thicker lines left, do not worry too much, because at the end of the day we are going to go over with a fountain pen, so that will take care of that. And to create that muted pink, I'm going to go into quinacridone pink, which is right over here, and the idea is to mix up a big enough puddle to be able to cover the entire flower, but of course in reality it never happens. You always run out of this perfect color and you have to go back. So I'm going to go into this dark blue, and I won't need probably that much because you can see it does mute it down really quickly, but I'm going to go into it again, and then I will try to water it out as much as possible because I want quite a light wash. So let's start. This is not a light wash, so I'm just going to go right into the thing. So at this minute I'm going to do a wash all over these petals, but what I will do is I will leave some white areas just because it has become my style. I really like it as highlights, not to cover all of them. And that's all I'm doing for now. I'm just making sure I'm watering out the watercolor and then going back and creating. At the minute it really doesn't matter if it's all going to look flat. What matters is just the highlights for now. Also what I'm going to do is just dab some water to create that textural kind of look to begin with. That will help us to have already something there that's quite pretty. And I'm just going to go ahead and do the rest. Okay, so that is it for the pinks, and you can see how beautiful these little blooms are. And in fact, I really like working with this brush because it's a synthetic, and for this size, it's very kind of you know, you have a lot of control. It's not soft, and you can quickly kind of, it feels quite scratchy on the paper because it's so sort of hard in a way, but it allows you to have a better control over what you're doing on such a small scale. Also pay attention that I have left small tiny gaps between the petals, so I'm not merging the entire thing together and making it look flat, but I'm still dissecting the petals in a way. So I'm going to go into this muted green now, and I'm trying to think what I did to create that lovely color. It certainly has some blue in there, so I'm going to try and mix some blue and green. Yeah, that works quite well. I'm going to go in with that, but I do want it to be quite muted, so as in watered out, not muted. It is already quite muted, so this seems to be a perfect color. Okay, so one of my memory cards got full and I didn't realize at which point, so I do apologize if some of the process was not recorded, but now I'm going to do the glaze. So I'm going back into the quinacridone pink, and this time I want it to be darker. Oh, this is a beautiful color. It might be a little bit too much to go with it for the glaze, but because I'll need a third one, which would be at its darkest, I'm going to try and wash it out as much as I can, and just use this area here. You can see it's trickling down, the darkest part of it. So let's start with this. So now with the glaze, I will concentrate. Let me just show you again. So here, hopefully you can see that the darkest part is closest to the center of the flower, so to speak, if you're looking at that bit, and it's sort of mimicking shadows from underneath, from the petals sitting on top of them. So that's what we're trying to do. And then these bits we're going to leave at the color that we first put, so I'm not going to do much there. So I'm going to now concentrate here in these areas, so just adding the watercolor like so, not all over, just here, and then washing out my brush. I'm just going to add some water and let it flow. Okay, so I have finished the other 3 petals as well, and I stopped filming because I'm a bit conscious of the memory card, of the second memory card also getting full, because I don't have any others free at the moment. I want you to be able to see the rest of the process. So I'm going to now use this actually very same color right here where we created the center, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch some of the white but not all of it, making sure I definitely leave some of it where it was and just add the purpley color, the pinky color on top. And now I'm going to move on to these greens, and I really do at this point need to create a nice kind of how should I say, this is too greeny. I do need to create a nice glaze to make a nice contrast, so that is what I'm attempting to do here. Just pulling a little bit too blue. Okay, so we've got now a close color to what we need. So I'm just going to take most of it off my brush. Now it's going to be quite harsh going in, but that's fine. And what I'm trying to do here, in fact, is the same thing. So I'm just going to create these kind of feathery lines to begin with. And before it dries, I'm going to wash out my brush and do exactly what I've done before, just touching it in and letting the watercolor soften and blend like so, leaving the color from the first wash still quite there and peeking through. So it creates a nice little bit of an effect. And we're going to do the same over here. Okay, so now I am going to go with the second glaze. So we had the first wash, the pink, which is this one. We had the first glaze, which is the darker color, and it's going to be second glaze now, just the very darkest. And I'm going to really create the darkest color I can, and that will just be quite I'm not going to be doing any of the blending. I'm just going to touch it here and there, like so. It's a lot more detailed than I have done this one. All right, here, so you can leave it as you want, as this, if you like that, but I am now going to go with my ink pen and I'm going to make sure the watercolor is completely dry and then do the line work, and we're going to come back and look at it. Okay, so let's look at the line work. I'll probably start with the easiest, which is the leaves. There is nothing going on here, so I'm just going to line out the leaves, and that will be it. Now I'll try to make the points a little bit pointy, just because I quite like that look. So that immediately creates a little bit of contrast and lifts it, I find, as well. So here I'm going to start with the center and just line it out in this wobbly kind of manner. That's all I'm doing. I'm also going to create similar lines inside, like so, just going in and out, and that's all I'm doing. Now the petals is the hard work, but it's also super therapeutic. So what I do to begin with is I just line out the petal and the curling of it in one single line, and then I kind of create these sort of slightly rounded lines, so they're not straight. And I just go over like so, very lightly holding the fountain pen, not really much pressure there, and just line them like that. Okay, so I charged my battery a little bit, so we'll have a few minutes to finish this off. So for the bluish kind of grayish, it's almost like Payne's grey, and Mayan blue genuine kind of color looks, if you would mix it together, that's what it would look like. But I'm going to mix it using these colors here. And so I've got Indanthrone blue, which is the darkest blue here, and I'm going to put some of the Cobalt Blue into here from QoR, because it granulates beautifully. So something like that, and I'm going to put a little bit of red into it to neutralize it, and just a little tiny bit. So that's nice, but still a little bit more. And that almost looks quite close to what we need. So one more. Okay, so this is a good color now, and I'm going to make sure I water it out because I don't want it to be too dark. So all I'm going to do in essence is just start and do small areas, because otherwise, because it's dark, it's going to dry like so, which we don't want to do. So I'm just doing, all I'm doing is this, and in fact what you could do is just wet the paper first and then dab in that color into it. That would work easier, and it looks quite beautiful because it creates that sort of blended effect already, so you don't need to do much there. Okay, so the battery is literally dying, so I just wanted to show you the end result here, which is just absolutely stunning. So I used 3 colors here, the red and then the Indanthrone blue with the cobalt blue, and it just separates into these gorgeous brownie blues, and stunning for backgrounds. And I've done the blooming effect again. So that is my peony. I hope you will enjoy it, and see you soon.